Hello YouTube, my name is Abraham Chappelle and today I'm going to show you how to repair a broken Makita grinder. The other day at work, this thing quit working on me, and it was because it had got jammed up in a tight spot, and this little button on the back that stops the motor from turning had gotten pushed in when it was on, and it stripped out some of the gear. I was kind of mad at first, but then I thought, wait a minute, the part can't be that expensive. So I went online and I found Tool Parts Direct. And from Tool Parts Direct, I was able to order both gears, the one that comes out of the spindle and the one on top that drives the machine, for $7. Shipping was $8. So it cost me 15 bucks. But anyway, these two little pieces are what's going to fix it. And all I'm going to use to take it apart is a screwdriver and a couple of other things that you probably have. You're going to need a bearing pusher, some kind of a bearing puller apparatus. This is actually made by Shatton Design. It's distributed by Stuart McDonald. They're a guitar repair company. They sell lots of things to fix guitars with, and I do that also. This will pull the bearing that's inside here. But anyway, the first thing you have to do is make sure it's unplugged. Take off the handle and the shroud, and then take off these 4 screws here, and then these 4 screws here. Now that I've done that, I can take this off. It comes off right like that, and you can see this. It's kind of damaged. It's a little beat up. And then you pull this right out, and look at that guy, he got really chewed. Yeah, it's pretty terrible, isn't it? Well, it can be fixed. That's what we're doing right now. This is the part where you have to pull the bearing out to change this. Now to get this out, you have to take apart the case. And there are a couple of screws that hold it together, here and here. And that's really all you have to take off. You just have to take off this bottom part and then get to the bushings and remove those. Once you get the screws out, it separates pretty easy. Just pull it apart. You can leave the switch on. It doesn't have to come off. And then here, the brushes that go up against the motor, these 2 screws on either side, pull them out, and you can remove this, but don't take it all the way out. Just pull it back just enough so that the machine clears the brushes inside and it comes right out the top. Then you want to use like a little vice grip or something that grips it securely so you don't bend the metal, and just tug it out just like that. And you can even you can leave it in just sitting there. It just has to be far enough back so that this comes out the top. Look at that. There's the works. There's a little damage on this, but that shouldn't really affect the machine too much once it gets back together. What I did to get the nut off the top of this, take another vice grip and a towel and wrap it around this, get a hold of it, and a 10mm socket wrench will take that right off. See? Remove the nut, set it in your parts tray. Use a parts tray, it helps out. You don't want to lose your screws. And then this guy's off. And then you put this one right back on. If your tool's dirty, take like a wire brush, get all that crap out. I work with metal, so we get a lot of metal dust and stuff, and these are pretty well sealed machines, but still parts get down inside there. And as long as you got it apart, might as well make it look nice. Then you can reattach the brushes, stick them back in, use your fingers to start them in because they've been self-tapped into the plastic, and that way you won't strip out the threads. And then once you get them tapped in, take the screwdriver and go the rest of the way. Now that you've reassembled the case here, time to go after this guy. And for that, we're going to use this bearing puller. It actually fits right inside under the bearing. You can use a bearing spreader too in a vise and tap it out from the middle. There's a little pin that holds the bearing on, and you can just tap it out with a punch. Bam. There it is, free and clear. Then we have to take a pair of these clip pliers and take this little clip off, which you can see right there. After you've taken the ring clip off, there's a little washer that sits on there. Save that, of course. And then there goes that. That guy's done. Here's the fresh new one. Make sure you line it up with the little post that's set in there. Back together. And there's the clip. Looks great. We're going to stick the bearing back on, and you can either press it on with like a C-clamp, like this, set it in there and press it back down, turning it, or you can tap it in with a mallet. And to do that, you want to make sure that you place the spindle on top of the bearing, or the post rather. Place the post on top of the bearing and tap it down from the back with a mallet. Alright, that took a couple of seconds, and now it's back together. Bearing looks good. And when it was put together at the factory, it was packed with grease. So you want to have some. I got this heavy duty grease here at Home Depot. It's like $5. I also got this white lithium grease, but I think I'm going to go with this guy because it seems like it's a little more heavy duty. I'm going to clean this out and repack it. I use like a putty knife and got some grease packed down inside there. If the little squeeze is out, just wipe it off. But lubricant is key to making machines like this keep their stuff. And also, when you put the piece back on, it only goes on one way. So make sure you line up the holes so that your screws go back in. When you're putting the screws back in the face, it's also a good idea to do them in a star pattern like this, so that you make sure that you're making equal pressure against the back. And that way you also make sure you line up your gears teeth inside so that it slides in and you don't put too much pressure on it and maybe break one of the teeth on your new gear. Alright. Everything's tight. I'm going to plug it in and sorry about that. Plug it in and give it a spin. Sounds pretty good. Just to make sure that it works, here's a piece of metal, and here is a cut-off blade, and these are safety glasses, by the way. Yep, that does the job right there. Cut a nice little slot in that piece of metal. Thank you very much for watching my video, and leave comments below. This is my first shot. If you guys like it, give me a thumbs up. Alright, thank you. My name is Abraham Chappelle once again, and that was how to fix a Makita grinder with broken gear teeth.